So let's dive into one of the most pressing questions of our time, using the work of historian Yuval Noah Harari as our guide. The world is changing so fast, you know? The old rule books for life, for work, for education, they're pretty much obsolete. So the real question is, how do we get ready for a future that we can't even really imagine? And this is the question that Harari puts right at the center of it all. I mean, think about it. A baby born today, they're going to be in their 30s in 2050. What skills, what knowledge is actually going to help them not just survive, but thrive in a world that might look nothing like ours? We're talking everything, the job market, what it means to be human, it's all on the table. You can really see the massive difference right here. 1,000 years ago, life was predictable. You could teach your kid how to farm or how to weave, knowing for sure that that skill would be useful for their entire life. But today, we're dealing with such radical, insane uncertainty that a huge chunk of what kids are learning in school right now might be totally useless by the time they graduate. Okay, so that brings us to a huge problem. Our schools, the very places that are supposed to get us ready for the future, are basically running on an operating system from 100 years ago. They were built for a totally different world, and now, as Harari says, they're essentially bankrupt. I mean, just think about it for a second. We are absolutely drowning in information. Anyone with a phone has access to more data than any human ever had in history. So the challenge isn't about getting more information, not at all. It's about making sense of it. It's about figuring out how to tell what's important from what's just noise, and how to piece it all together into a picture of the world that actually makes sense. And this really captures that old model perfectly. It's the school as a factory idea, right? The bell rings, you shuffle from one identical room to another, getting your head filled with facts. That whole system was designed for the Industrial Revolution, to crank out workers for the production line. But as you can see here, that production line has completely, chaotically broken down. It just doesn't work anymore. So, if just memorizing a bunch of facts is a dead end, what's the alternative? Well, a common answer you hear all the time is technical skills. Let's just teach everyone how to code, right? Sounds practical. It even sounds kind of future-proof. But is it really? And yeah, this is the big catch. We could spend years and years teaching kids a programming language, only to find out that by 2050, AI can code way better and way faster than any human ever could. Today's must-have technical skill could literally become a museum piece tomorrow, just a curious relic of the past. The bottom line is, any specific narrow skill is at risk of being automated away. Okay, so if it's not facts and it's not some specific technical skill, what on earth is left? Well, according to Harari, the single most important skill, the real game changer, is going to be mental flexibility. It's the ability to reinvent yourself again and again and again. And Harari paints this really wild picture of what a life might look like. At 25, you might have a pretty clear identity. But by 35, you could be a gender non-specific person living and working mostly in a virtual world. And by 45, even something as basic as dating might be totally handled by algorithms. Now, this isn't a direct prediction, but it shows you the kind of massive shifts we might have to deal with in our own lives. So to make it through all that, you'll have to constantly let go of who you think you are. We build these boxes for ourselves, right? These stable identities. But in this new world, staying inside your box means you're going to get left behind while everything just flies right past you. You have to be willing to smash it open and build something completely new. And look, let's be real for a second. This is hard. I mean, it's incredibly stressful. Once you hit a certain age, say 50, you've spent decades building your career, your skills, your whole identity. You just want some stability. But the future isn't going to give us that luxury. The new normal is constant reinvention, and that's going to take a huge amount of emotional balance to handle. But here's where the stakes get even higher. This isn't just about staying relevant in your job. The challenge isn't just about keeping up with technology. The real, terrifying danger is that technology is trying to hack us. And hacking humans doesn't mean your computer gets a virus. No, it's about hacking you, your brain, your personality. It's when giant companies and governments use big data and AI to understand your deepest feelings, your desires, your choices better than you understand them yourself. This quote just nails the whole threat. If an algorithm knows exactly which emotional buttons to push to make you feel angry or happy, or to suddenly crave some product, is that feeling even yours anymore? Where do you end and their manipulation begin? And the end result of all this, as Harari puts it, you could end up living your life inside the Matrix or the Truman Show.
A world where you feel free, but all your choices are being subtly engineered for you, and you don't even know it. You're living inside a giant, sophisticated system of control. So, how do we fight back against that? How do we hold on to our freedom? Well, the answer, believe it or not, is this super ancient piece of advice that has never, ever been more important. Know thyself. It's a race. It's as simple as that. These algorithms, they're learning about you every single second. They're tracking what you watch, what you buy, who you talk to, even how your body reacts to things. If you want to keep any kind of control over your own life, you have to get to know your own internal operating system before they do. And that means you have to run faster than the most powerful corporations and governments in the history of the world, who are all in a race to figure you out and influence what you do. So this is it. This is the absolute core takeaway. In an age where humans can be hacked, self-awareness isn't some philosophical luxury anymore. It is a critical survival skill. And that leaves all of us with one final, really urgent question. This isn't science fiction. It's not happening in some distant future. The race to hack your operating system, it has already begun. The real question is, how are you going to win?